Yo, welcome back to another stringing tutorial on the Toltec Pickups channel. We have many tutorials like this and others about guitar maintenance. Give it a like, give it a sub if you're so inclined, give it a like even if you don't like it, just for the fun. So today we are going to be putting a string on a vintage style split post tuner, otherwise known as a safety post. I've heard it being called in the past. This is what you find on vintage style guitars, let's say, and the shaft pause has a split in it there, and there's a hole in the center of the shaft as well. That hole is useful, the string is going to utilize that. So we've threaded our string through the bridge, the tremolo saddle, nice and taut, and I'm now pulling it to extension. We are putting it on the A post, it's the A string, so the excess I like to have is one post plus a half there, let's say. So A post, take it to the D and a half, and then I will snip then. I will snip the string at that point. So now we're going here, this is the excess which is going to wrap around here. So we take the string and we thread it down in to the hole that is in the shaft pause, the post. Thread that down as far as it'll go, and then I'm going to push down to the bottom of that split post there. And if we just take that out, we'll see that that makes a little kink. That bit has gone into the hole, this bit is touching as far as it can do at the bottom of the split. So into there, and then I'm going to hold nice and tight. I'm going to put pressure down here with my finger, and the rest of the fingers of my hand are going to grip underneath for the excess, and I'll pull tight on that as well. So that's making a tight contact with the bridge saddle as well. So there's no slack at this side of the string, and there's no slack here. We're taking it up with our, if I can just demonstrate there what it would look like, rest of the fingers pulling tight there on the bridge, pushing down there on the post. In it goes, and then we'll just keep pressure and then wind, and as it goes round, we're winding up. It will also create another kink against the side, and then just keep winding. Then each time it comes around again and passes, we want the string to go underneath the last wrap, and it's going to get about 1.5, 2.5, let's say. There's about 1.5 wraps on that. We don't need a massive excess of wrap on that due to how long we have measured our excess to go around the post. And that is kind of it. I'm going to show you again with the A. We don't need a load of string down on this post because we pulled nice and tight there, and it's snug in this part, it's snug on the bridge saddle, and this is what we've got to work with. Obviously then we stretch our strings in and tune to pitch when they are new to kind of quote unquote break them in. I'll show you one more time with the E string, wound E, which is going here. I'll take it one post plus a half, nay, a little bit more because we've got the rest of that hole for the string to go down. One post and a bit more there. I'll snip that. This bit goes into that hole as far as it'll go, kink over to the base of the split, and then keeping tension on your first finger and the rest of the fingers grabbing the excess string at the bridge end, and as it comes round, the wrap is going to go underneath each time it passes. Now, I don't have too much excess string on these, so 1.5 turns, you could get 2 out of there if you want, is more than adequate. On the plain strings, I'll put a little bit more on there, maybe 3 wraps. Each time it goes under. You don't overlap any string over the top of any of the other windings there. That's how you get tuning issues, because the string is not snug against the post all the way down. It's overlapping onto other strings, and that's how you get that slipping. Just to take us out a little bit longer than we wanted, information about when we have threaded. I'm going to move this camera now, which is rare. Through this side here, it's going to go, the string comes through the bridge block, which is at the back side, all the way up through this saddle. Now, this end, it has the brass, what's known as the ball end of the string, and that sits up into the hole of the bridge block. Now, we want to make sure that when we pull that string through initially to start threading, that ball end sits nice and snug as far as it can go on the bridge block, and we'll check for that before putting it anywhere near that tuning post, because if we don't have that snug there, we'll start tuning, and then if there's any slack on there, it'll come back through as the tension comes, and then you've got excess string then at the tuning peg end. Or if you haven't really paid attention and you've kind of got it to pitch, at some point it'll pop through, and then your whole string's gone slack and out of tune. Hopefully that is making sense. Make sure it's nice and snug, tight up to the, as far as it will go in the bridge block. Keep full tension on as you are winding down the safety post, kind of like this. These 3 fingers are pulling the string here to keep tension on the bridge. This finger is pointing down there and pushing and keeping tension here. Otherwise, we are prone to string slippages and tuning issues. Again, it's going a little bit longer. You might have checked out by now, but if you're still with us, you're the sensible ones, because we're learning as we go along now. So just a word on tuning pegs. These are, for a Squier, these are really nice, sturdy tuners. The gear ratio is nice, and the tolerance between the worm gear, let's say, and the cog that's on the back is really nice and tight. It's not slack. It is super rare, I have experienced it, but it's super rare that this tuning post will slip, causing the string to unwind or detune, let's say. If that tolerance is nice there, that is going nowhere. Some people think that if they've got cheaper tuners, that the cog and the worm gear are somehow, this is going to slip and unwind, let's say, with the string tension. That's going to go, oh, and do, it's not going to, in 99% of cases, it's not going to do that. I've experienced it with some older vintage guitars where the point of contact between this and this internally has wound loose because of the cap on the back. Let's just have a look at that. The cap on the back here may have had a knock and come off, because this part, with pressure on the chassis, let's say, of this part, that's what keeps that gear pressed tightly together. On a Kluson, let's say, I have had it where vibration on the headstock and playing has caused that to just unwind itself and detune. Very rare, very rare. Even with the cheaper end sort of tuners. The thing that is rubbish about the cheaper end tuners is that the materials are a little soft. The gear feels crunchy. It'll sometimes have a spot where you're tuning up and the gear will slip. That's different to it unwinding by vibration. As you're tuning up, the gear will slip. And it's always going to happen when you write to pitch as well. That's when it's going to slip. But as in it working its way loose as you're playing, not so much. Again, there are exceptions to the rule, of course, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it's not that common. So don't go getting too caught up and wound up in that. This has been too much of a long video to show you how to put one string on a safety post vintage style split post tuner, but the more information about other things that can happen to this kind of stringing method, the better. I know you just want to see the string go on. I know you're just going to have your opinion about how I'm doing it all wrong, but my 25 years professionally in the business, touring the world over with platinum selling artists and building guitars, etc., etc., tells me otherwise. Again, you don't need mountains of string around this. 1.5 wraps is more than adequate for a non-locking tuner, even like this. Maybe a couple more on the plain strings because they don't grip as well. If you've got that nice tension on there, you're going to have no real issues. And again, each time the string passes round the post, it wants to sit underneath the last wrap. Don't overlap string wraps. That's how you get into the shit, and that is easy, innit?